Good afternoon, everybody. How lovely to see you here. I seem to have a very unstable situation. I'm kind of freezing and bumping. Maybe it's warmed up now. Okay, this is another edition of Womb Talk, and I want to talk about the post that I made a few minutes ago, a daring question. What is it you desire? And part two of the question is, how big? And this is something I've been thinking about a lot. I've been thinking about it all my life, and sometimes a negative way. And I'm going to tell you that little story right now. Desire is so important. Our desire is God calling. It is divine instructions. I am convinced of this. I believe it with all of my heart. And when I was just an itty-bitty baby, looking at something out there, it looks like a bird, but I think it's not a bird. It's interesting though. When I was a very young child, I learned through experience, my infant experience, that desire was a bad thing. That if I wanted things, I was a bad girl. It actually happened in the context of my parents fighting about money, and I somehow associated, I don't remember if there was a specific experience of me saying, "Mommy, I want that," and she getting upset with me because she couldn't give it to me, or it might have had nothing to do with me whatsoever, but my request was ill-timed, who knows? But when I would hear my parents fighting about money late at night after I was in bed or wherever I was hiding out with my big little 5-year-old ears, I associated my desires, my wants, my asking for causing pain, causing trouble, being bad. And I decided that the only thing I could do to fix all of this and to help my parents, because clearly they were having trouble and they needed help, and somehow I elected myself as it being my job to help them, I decided I would crush my desire. I would stop wanting things. Don't ask, don't want, just shut it down. Well, we are desiring creatures. Desire is our motivating force. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning. It's what keeps us looking for food, showing up for work, showing up for each other. It keeps us curious. It motivates all of our decisions in ways we don't even know. It is the essence of this living human organism that we are, and we're not the only ones. All of life operates motivated by desire. We have, as human beings, we are possibly unique, not necessarily unique, but as far as we know, we are unique, with possibly the cetaceans being the exception of having, we have some consciousness around our desire. Most other human beings, their desire is kind of hardwired into them, not human beings, relatives, other creatures on the planet. Their desire is hardwired into instinct and hormones and survival, and their nervous system is a little bit different from ours because of our giant brains. Our nervous system is complex and complicated, and we can screw with our desires like I did as a little child when I thought, I can just stop wanting anything. So the thing is, my case maybe is not unique. chances are many of you hearing this story right now will say, oh yeah, I remember when I did that. I also know how I was, whatever your story is, you can remember that time when you were shamed, embarrassed, or somehow shut down around asking for what you want, knowing what you want. It became kind of dangerous to be a desiring human, especially if you're female. So now we step into female desire. And when women want something, when women want something for themselves, when women want and ask for help, support, a voice, to be heard, to be seen, to be loved, to be touched, to be pleasured, to have an orgasm, I want mine, you're getting yours. Everything about that tends to be shamed in the context of this patriarchal society. And so we learn to shape our desires to fit the keyhole of what other people expect of us, of the roles and functions that we perform as human beings, that person at the center of the family, that person at the center of our parents' hopes and needs, that person at the center of the emotional labor storm so many of us find ourselves in. No matter where we are, the family, the marriage, the relationship, the mother-daughter relationship, the job. How many of us, even when we are executives, also find ourselves being wife in an office or corporate situation? Those of us who have worked there. Yeah, just because, I ain't dealing with that. She's the girl, she'll deal with it. That is just so unconscious and endemic. And they're not conscious that they're doing it. And we're not conscious that we're responding and molding and picking up that both ends of that stick until maybe we're lying awake at night saying, why did I say yes to that? Why did I do that? Why didn't I find a way to say, go fuck yourself, or no, I will not? That is not part of my job. You need to hire somebody else to do that. Just find a way to say, no, but no, we're just used to just... And when we are doing all of that according to expectations, what happens? Our own desires do not have space to expand, do not have space to be exercised. So that's a big part of the work that we do here in the portal, and the work that I do with women when I'm working with sexuality, when I'm working with sex, wealth, and voice, when I'm working with feminine power, is we are saying, what is your desire? Give yourself permission to desire. Give yourself permission to expand that desire. Notice how you compress or crush your own desire so that when you feel yourself doing that, you can find a new way to step into it full-bodied and claiming it. And then knowing how to desire is just the first step. How to manifest that desire, how to embody it, how to live it out fully. Some of these things, some of what we desire are things. They are very concrete. They may not be things, but they are concrete, and we are moving towards them or calling them in. Some desires are experiences and ways of being that we need to step into and recognize that we have that capacity to be that. We are that. So this is this is a very big and a very important thing. Modesty does not serve us here. Humility does serve us, but humility and modesty are not the same thing. So it's and learning the difference between, and if you ask me to tell you the difference right now, I don't even know if I could. What is the difference between humility and modesty? I think humility, first off, humility says, I know. I am and I know. And I know that you are too. Humility does away with the hierarchy. Humility recognizes that greatness and desire, and a desire for expansion and more, is simply natural. Modesty questions whether that is natural, questions whether we're doing the right thing. Modesty, I fear, judges. Humility does not judge. So I mention that because it's one of the things that tends to come up. Modesty and humility, particularly modesty, are much lauded and socialized feminine virtues. And therefore, we teach little girls from the very earliest ages. And some of that is protection. Modesty is protection. And humility is when it's a way of putting a governor on the largeness that we naturally express as little children when we are burgeoning and growing with all of that energy. These are ways that we are suppressed. So as adults, we now get to say, what does this mean really? So I encourage you, I invite you, I implore you, I ask you to go to that post when you have some time. Maybe you need to think about it for a minute and spend some time making a comment, making an answer to what do you desire and what does it, and how big. And you're going to feel uncomfortable as hell saying it. You notice I haven't put mine in yet. Because mine is really big. And the little girl in me who said, oh, I've got to help my parents by not wanting anything, somehow thinks that they're going to rise from the grave and somehow punish me if I say what I really want. So my desire, here's my desire. I'm going to close with this right here. My desire is to play my part in awakening womb wisdom, awakening the power of all the women I touch, the women who come into my world, fulfilling my mission and purpose, creatively, joyfully, profitably. That is, I want the School of Womb Wisdom. My desire is that the School of Womb Wisdom be a thriving, real entity that is changing the world and the lives of women. That is what I want. And there's something else that I want. I want to finish the paintings, some of which are in my head and some of which are halfway on the canvas that I haven't done yet. I want to unpack my studio. I want to upgrade my kiln because, ooh, what a cute little thing running around out there. I want to update all the clothes in my closet, throw out practically everything and buy new stuff. There's a lot of things that I want, but more than anything, what I desire is to be that powerful human being that thought that the only power I had was to quell and suppress my desire. And I want all of that desire to hang out, to expand, and to guide every word I speak, every step I take, everything I write, everything I design, every invitation I make for you to work with me for my desire. I want it to be fully expressed and completely unleashed, let go, let out into the world. That's what I want. And I've told you another story, and I will come back and I will tell it again, but I think that's enough right now. I want to finish on that note. And as you have time during the evening, please answer that question. What is your desire? How big? Let's get uncomfortable with that, because that's the first step to becoming at ease with it and letting it out. All right, thank you for joining me for this womb talk, and I will see you again soon. I'm going to go put on my boots, my snowshoes, my very first snowshoe walk of the year, and then I'll be back later. Bye-bye. Oh.